Hello and welcome to this presentation. The Lights of Leamington Switched On Stories was an oral history project that ran from September 2024 until March 2025. I'm David Clargo from Whittle Productions, and I'm going to take you through this presentation, which takes about 15 minutes. So today we're going to introduce or reintroduce you to the Lights of Leamington, a spectacular but often under-celebrated event as a cherished part of the town's cultural, creative and civic history. We'll explore how the festival brought joy to post-war Britain. We'll see how the event offered colour, music and celebration at a time of national recovery, helping to boost community pride, local tourism and a sense of togetherness. And we'll share the legacy through our storytellers using images, video, personal memories and audio recordings, reflecting on the cultural significance of the festival and its lasting impact on Leamington's identity. So just a bit of background as to how we've got to this point. In 2020, my colleague Carol Slight and I from Whittle Productions brought together a steering group of a well-known local councillor and historian Sydney Syson and Stephanie Kerr, Executive Director from Bid Leamington, to explore how we could reimagine the Lights of Leamington. We secured funding from Arts Council England to run a feasibility study. And we quite quickly realised that there were two elements to this project. Firstly, that bringing back a festival on such a scale would be complicated and expensive. And secondly, that there were stories to tell about the impact of the original festival. So with the support of the National Heritage Lottery Fund and Royal Leamington Spa Town Council, Switched On Stories was launched to document and share the festival's untold history through memories, images and memorabilia. Meanwhile, in February 2025, the legacy continued with Spotlight, a new festival organised by Bid Leamington, supported by the UK Government and Warwick District Council, that lit up the town with inclusive, creative and sustainable events and installations. There's an ambition to stage further light festivals. So this is the story of the Lights of Leamington, a magical festival that lit up Jeffson Gardens and captured the imagination of a generation. The first Lights of Leamington took place in 1951 and ran every summer for the next 10 years. Each year, the lights were switched on for an 8-week period spanning from July through to October. In total, over 3 million people visited. The lights were inspired by the Festival of Britain's message to celebrate community, creativity and a brighter future after the Second World War. While the Festival of Britain lasted just 1 year, Leamington's contribution endured for a decade, becoming a beloved tradition in its own right. The lights were an immediate success, attracting over 300,000 visitors in its first season and putting the town on the cultural map. Each year, Jeffson Gardens was transformed into what the Courier newspaper at the time called a fairyland of colour. Trees were lit in vibrant hues, themed installations appeared on the lawns, and everywhere glowed with theatrical magic. The pathways, lawns and lakeside took on a dreamlike quality. There were swan-shaped floats on the lake, lit castles and magical scenes on the lawns. Tucked away in corners were hidden surprises like lit squirrels, rabbits and fairy tale characters. The gardens became a giant outdoor stage filled with imaginative scenes, glowing fountains and dramatic lighting effects. For many, the lights were an annual highlight, a post-war luxury that was both affordable and memorable. This festival plan shows the extent of what was staged. Entry was affordable, just 1 shilling and sixpence on Saturdays and a shilling during the week. Children paid half price, and there were special concessions for pensioners. One important rule: there were no lights on Sundays, because public gardens had to remain free of charge. Special train services were laid on, and people came from across the region by coach, train, and bike to enjoy the sights, the sounds, and the sense of wonder. The lights truly captured people's imaginations, with the gardens buzzing with energy, colour, and excitement. The festival wasn't just about lights. Music and performance were at the heart of the festival. A floating stage was constructed on the lake itself, with a small live orchestra, and later the stage was redesigned as an elegant swan-shaped bandstand. There was dancing, including live ballet performances, and of course a dance tent. It was a social hub as much as a visual spectacle, and on Saturdays, a magical firework display lit up the skies. Elsewhere in the gardens, accordion and violin players strolled amongst the visitors in the beer garden, creating a lively, welcoming atmosphere. The combination of light, music, and movement made every evening feel magical. But what looked like effortless magic was the result of an enormous behind-the-scenes operation. The council's park team, staff from the East Midlands Electricity Board, alongside local engineers, began work well before the opening night. Wiring was laid, hundreds of bulbs and displays tested, and elaborate control panels were installed, all carefully hidden from view to preserve the illusion. In fact, the entire display had to be built and dismantled each year from scratch. It was a huge logistical effort, especially given the technology of the time. Everything was analog. Lighting had to be manually operated and checked every day. Maintenance teams worked throughout the season to replace failed bulbs and to ensure everything continued to sparkle. It was a remarkable feat of teamwork, precision, engineering, horticulture, and creative vision, all in the service of creating wonder. After a decade, the lights were switched off for good in 1961. Despite their popularity, the cost and complexity of staging the event became too great. And although the huge influx of visitors brought great benefits to local businesses, it also posed challenges, from traffic congestion to wear and tear on the gardens. Also, by then, costs were rising, audience tastes were changing, and public funding was harder to find. Some of the lighting displays were sold or given away to other towns, but much was lost. Although the festival ended, its memory lived on in the hearts of those who experienced it, a golden chapter in Leamington's history and extraordinary creative ambition. So the aim of Switched On Stories was to capture some of this before it was too late. We ran a number of community open days, recording those memories, preserving photos and memorabilia. We produced films, a podcast series, a souvenir brochure, social media content, and we've created a new website. Over 6,000 people visited our multimedia exhibition in All Saints Church in February 2025. Furthermore, all this material is being formally archived at the Warwickshire County Record Office for future generations. Before we end, we'd like to show you this short film, which is split into two parts. In a moment, a teaser from the main 30-minute film, which gives you a flavour of the material and stories we gathered. But first, an overview of our exhibition at All Saints Church and what people thought of it.
It's been fantastic to come into this church and to see the exhibition of light, to walk around it. It's such a freeing experience, and not just be amongst the exhibition, but also see the light that is transcending through the windows as well, and incredibly peaceful.
I've been around and I've had a look at everything with my wife as well, and it's great. It is very good. Brings back lots of memories. It's just amazing.
The film is absolutely brilliant.
I haven't seen a lot of the pictures that it exhibited here, and people with these flowers, a lot of work has gone into these. And there's a lot of people moving about and bringing people into the town, hopefully, even just this exhibition.
It was just really lovely reading all the quotes, going through the history of what's happened here. It's been really beautiful to read about.
Well, I liked it how that you can see like koala lights in the trees, and it's very nice.
It's just nice to see how much history there is in Leamington. I didn't realise that the Lights of Leamington had actually been on before. I really like as well that they always include something for the children, so the paper chains, that's just a really nice touch, I think. Really enjoyable.
Magical, really. The exhibition is bringing out the magic, particularly the film over there. And the people, you're just listening to memories, and you could listen to memories all day. I just love it all. The way it's laid out, the stories, it just ticks the boxes, doesn't it? So childhood wonder, isn't it? Again.
I love the Lights of Leamington. I really did.
It was cheerful in a drab world.
We were just out of the dark days of the Second World War, and things were improving all the while, but this was just spectacular.
It was like fairyland, really. Magical. Enlightening.
There was music and there was lights.
We'd actually developed a vision of Leamington as being an interesting place, as being an imaginative place, artistic place.
But everybody was in a good mood, it was a happy place.
I can remember just being in total awe of it.
You're amazed by, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that!
Suddenly there's all this light. You're in Wonderland. You didn't have to go to Disney.
I'd come from a village where there was no electricity. Seeing all these lights and all these colours.
It spoke of optimism, and it spoke of development, and it spoke of imagination.
It was very enterprising of Leamington to even think of putting on something like that.
It'd be nice if it did it again. Could do with it.
They're wonderful memories that no one can take away.
We hope you've enjoyed this presentation and that you've discovered or found out something new about the Lights of Leamington. We're grateful to everyone who shared their stories with us, as well as our funders, supporters and volunteers, without whom this wouldn't have been possible. Our website has lots more. You can view the full film, see each storyteller's individual story, Listen to our podcast series, which puts the festival within its social context. Enjoy photo galleries and find out more about the Switched On Stories project. Go to switchedonstories.co.uk or the QR code on the screen will take you there. If you're in Leamington, look out for the new panels that feature the Lights of Leamington in Jeffson Gardens, and you can see our film on display at the Art Gallery and Museum. And to find out more about the new Spotlight Festival, go to lightsofleamington.co.uk. Thanks for watching.